So I think that Saturday night ride is probably in here already because there's no foot tracks. All of the foot tracks have been covered over by tire tracks. So there was quite a few fat bikers in here already. The beautiful midwinter riding conditions that are going to be destroyed in the next few days when it gets above freezing. Well, in here it shouldn't be too bad because it's sheltered from the sun. Well, none of the fat bikers came through here since it got dark. Temperatures dropped to minus 21. Oh yeah, another thing about these straps is initially I had set them up, they were a snug fit, so they were kind of pushing down on my footwear. I found it was having a bit of a negative effect on their ability to keep your feet warm, so I loosened them a little bit. So if you have them on a tight fit, they can affect the insulating qualities of your shoe. Here we got the last bit of this trail is a really short, steep section to the parking lot of this trail system. And there was a big tree down. I haven't been in here for a couple weeks, so hopefully the tree is gone. But even so, with these fine grainy snow conditions, you might not be able to ride it. I checked one guy's Strava ride today through here. Really fit guy. His average speed for the ride was 12.4. But well, that's kind of slow considering all the foot traffic that goes through here. But now I see why. It's the type of snow. Because now our average speed is 12.5. A very steep part. Tree is gone. Really steep part here. Oh. Couple of vehicles in the parking lot where teenagers come to hide from their moms and dads. Passing on your left. First time I've seen people walking in here at 9:58 in the evening at minus 20.5. Okay, we're at 56 minutes. So we'll start heading back. So most of the main trail goes up along Current River, but at one point we will cross Current River and spend some time going down the other side of it because there's some trails on the other side. Almost a full moon. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. Probably not. Figured this would be way more packed down since it's been quite a number of days since the snowfall. It's pretty bumpy, human footprint bumpy. Section of downhill. So now we're going to go down the section of trail that had tons of trees down. So if we're lucky, they've been cleaned up. All right, battery died. So that battery lasted less than an hour, which isn't too unusual considering it's minus 20 out. So yeah, videotape this whole ride. Might need 3 batteries to do 2 hours. It's generally how I make my videos. I turn the camera on to start and shut it off at the end. I record everything because you never know when something's going to happen. The memory card I have will handle 5 hours, over 5 hours of footage at 720p. I think 60 frames a second, 720p. So I did a few years I did motorcycle vlogging. So I still have that channel up. It's called TheSuperMotoHooligan. So if you're into motorbikes, you can check that out. I'll leave a link. But we'd go on these, my riding buddy, we'd go on these all-day rides where we'd be out for 6, 7, 8 hours. I recorded everything, start to finish. And I caught my own crashes. All of my crashes I caught on camera. I caught most of his crashes on camera because I recorded everything. So I had to bring 5 or 6 batteries with me, just 2 memory cards. So that's the approach I take with all my vlogging, is I generally record everything because you do not know when something interesting is going to happen. It's absolutely beautiful through here. Like the trees have been cleared out. Photo op. Check that out. Actually, it doesn't look as beautiful as it could have if we were here right after the snowfall, but still looks pretty nice. And I really need to get a new camera because this is a freaking old camera, and I'm noticing other people's smartphone photos, especially in low light, they get way more detail in their pictures than I do. So I got my phone in airplane mode so the battery doesn't die on me. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop and hold on to a tree to flip these pedals over to get into the straps. Hopefully there's a tree close by. I'm surprised that fat bike crew didn't come down here. They must have thought that the trails were still, there were still trees across them. Hold on to a branch. Whoops, that didn't work. Well, we're in one strap. Oh, I'm in the second one too. We're good to go. Beautiful. So the trails here, these become single track in the wintertime, so that's why it's annoying to come here in the daytime. You're constantly dealing with people, foot traffic, because one of you has to stop and move off the trail, and the trail etiquette is that you do, the cyclists do. Okay, this is the Trans-Canada Trail, snowmobile trail. There's another group we have a parasitic relationship with, snowmobilers. We need them, they don't need us. Always give them a wave or a thumbs up, as long as they're not illegally riding where you see them. Okay, so the trail on the right there is how we came up along one side of the river, and now we're going to cross the river here, and obviously we'll be on the other side. There's a trail on the other side. So as the crow flies, we're like maybe 5K from the city. So it's a total wilderness-like experience. So yeah, one of my goals, like I said, is 20,000 kilometers this year. But my other goals, last season I had set a goal. There's this road called Lakeshore Drive. It's a secondary highway, 80 kilometer an hour speed limit, but it's got a big, nice paved shoulder on both sides, and it's rolling with just two, well, maybe three things you could really call hills. So you can hum along it at a really nice average speed. So there's a Strava segment going out each direction, and my goal was to average 40 kilometers an hour both ways. It's about 20 kilometers each direction. And yeah, I didn't achieve that this year. One direction, I think I did 37.5 kilometers an hour. In the other direction, I did 36.5 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I train reasonably hard, not super hard. But what I'm also seeing is, you know, I did have the ability to ride at those speeds at one time, but that was because I raced like 3-4 days a week. Like, the fitness I need to attain those speeds, I think the only way I could theoretically achieve it is by racing, because I'm never gonna push myself that hard and for the long periods of time that those physiological changes would happen. Because all the guys that are faster than me are the guys that race regularly all summer, year after year. And I know I have the ability to achieve those speeds even at my age of 45. So what I'm going to do this year is focus more on longer Strava segments. Like, I guess my goal, one of my stated goals, is to be able to average 35 kilometers an hour, minimum of 35 kilometers an hour for 2 hours non-stop solo in a standard road position, no aero bars. But I've been looking at routes where I can go non-stop for that long without having to deal with stop signs. I found a couple that are like 60-65K long, so those are the ones I'm probably going to use. I'll probably just say that those will be the routes I'm going to use. Both of them are, I think, between 60 and 65 kilometers, and both of them have one stop sign on that entire route, and it's a right-hand turn stop sign, so you just do a rolling stop through them. So I'm going to try and average as high average speed through those. So I think it was like 35k an hour for 60k is like an hour and a half. Which is a pretty solid effort to ride essentially as a time trial, hour and a half time trial. Don't see time trials that long in pro racing. So that's going to be my goal this year. So basically, my limiting factor is my FTP, my functional threshold power, my sustainable power over a long period of time. Because I didn't have the motivation to do the workouts, because I'm just doing this for fun and personal challenge. It's not like I'm doing it to be able to keep up to the pack in a race. So if I set those goals as these longer segments, I think that'll help me stay motivated for the longer duration required for FTP training. So my theory being is that if I build my FTP this year, I'll use that as a building block to go back to trying to average 40k an hour the following year on those shorter segments, 20-kilometer segments. I think it's a sound theory. Have to be able to ride 36, 37, 38k an hour non-stop for 2 hours before I can have the fitness to ride 40k an hour for 30 minutes without aero bars. So we'll see what happens, because I did buy aero bars. I might end up using them. It's fun to go fast, but right now the goal is to not use them. But the other thing is, an hour and a half in aero bars, it's a freaking long time. Very uncomfortable. It starts becoming very uncomfortable. I did some rides where I spent an hour in the aero bars, and even that was uncomfortable. And that was with a position that was oriented towards comfort as opposed to absolute pure aerodynamic efficiency. That I was comfortable and could produce power. Felt like I was producing power. And speaking of power, that's the other thing. Like, I still haven't bit the bullet on getting a power meter, because I don't know which bike to put it on. Like, theoretically you would put it on your road bike, but this is the bike I would ride the least, actually, my road bike. The bike that I'm probably going to end up riding the most and training on the most is my green Fargo. So I think it makes sense to put it on that bike. And then when I actually feel the need to use the road bike to actually potentially take a KOM or set my best time, I'll just use the road bike and a heart rate monitor and perceived exertion. Unless I buy pedals, then I need to buy road shoes. Someone needs to come out with a power meter, mountain bike pedal power meter. But for the price of a power meter, I could get a suspension fork for my Krampus to turn it into the trail bike that I want it to be. Take a picture of that bug. Assuming my phone still works, since it's minus 21.8, and this phone's been in my back pocket for an hour and 20 minutes. So I've been out for an hour, 20 minutes. My tips of my toes are just ever so slightly starting to feel some coldness to them. I've got some cheap thermal socks that I bought at a bargain store. But maybe if I had nicer, more expensive socks, we wouldn't be feeling this a little bit of cold already. But It's not that cold that it's gonna not let us finish this ride. So we're coming to a climb that we might not be able to ride because of these human footprints. They let more air out of the tires. That would probably make a difference, but we're going to try and do it without having to do that. Craig and the walkers give us dirty looks. We should be giving them dirty looks for making it so hard to ride. Cheating by riding into this ski track that somebody made. This isn't officially one of the ski trails, so I don't feel any guilt. Tire breaking through. Precisely metered power output is allowing us to continue riding. Okay. Becoming more difficult to ride. There's one more pitch of reasonable steepness that may be difficult to ride. Oh, there we go, not rideable. Up to the top of this. Like I said, if I had stopped to let out tire pressure, it probably would have made a big difference. Could have rode that, but we no longer need soft tires. In another 100 meters or so, we won't need soft tires for the rest of the ride. So it's warmed up as we approach, get away from the woods and close to the city. It was minus 21 something, and Cascade Centennial is now minus 18.9. As we get closer to the shores of Lake Superior and its moderating effect. Okay, we're at an hour 33 minutes, so we'll still need to do some riding in the LPH to make this a 2-hour ride. It's alright, the riding in there is reasonably fun. Not rideable. It'll get rideable once we get into the woods here. There's a little bit of single track in the LPH here. And in the wintertime, it's nice. It's beautiful. There's not enough of it, but the thing is, there are sections of green space here where you could pit trails. You could make more trails in here if you made the effort. And it was really windy a couple of days ago, so this section is exposed. So this was wind-blown snow that the trail's been slowly packed down. Still not great. This is an open field too, so it was badly wind-blown. You can tell by just how bumpy the trail still here is. LPH has some fun bits of trail, not enough, but you can get here from my place in less than 10 minutes. Come here, ride for an hour, even do some interval work in here. Never have to use an indoor trainer. And accept virtual kilometers, which I won't accept ever. Surprised how bumpy a lot of these trails are, considering the last snowfall was 3-4 days ago. It's been pretty cold, so I guess that's kept people away. Even though today was a very nice temperature, I think it hit -8 today. Section of single track, very short. So we're an hour and 48 minutes, so we're gonna start heading home. So I just did this little additional loop to get us into the position where it should be right around 2 minutes by the, sorry, 2 hours by the time we get home. Alright, so we left all our trail systems tonight and we're on the roadways home. So this street is just completely, totally hard-packed snow. Not quite ice, but not far away from being compressed into ice. This is the kind of stuff that studded tires will still help you on. This is a side street, of course. If you get onto most of the main streets, that are going to be exposed pavement. So my batteries, I got on these two front headlamps. These batteries are now a little bit more than a year old. And last winter, whenever I rode with them, I pretty much used them at max power, like 1300 lumens all the time. And now this winter I noticed that, well, last winter I could run them for over 3 hours at 1300 lumens, even in real cold. And now this winter I've noticed they have definitely lost, both batteries have lost some of their capacity. Like I started out this ride for probably the first 45 minutes or so at 900 lumens each, and then I stopped to take the first picture. And I turned them up to 1,000 lumens for that, take the picture of the trail. And I left, or sorry, 1,300 lumens. And I left them on at 1,300 lumens now for the rest of the ride. And they're already flashing. Well, the manual says I have anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour left at 1,300 lumens. So they've lost a lot of their capacity. And I've also noticed now when I charge them that one of the batteries, the light turns green well before the other one, even when they've had equal use. Like essentially they're getting equal use tonight at the same outputs, but one of them will charge way faster. So I think there's less capacity there left to charge. So kind of disappointed that after a little more than a year of use, I'm already seeing a noticeable reduction. But these past 2 winters are the most serious that I've been about winter commuting and winter night riding. So this system, cycle light system, has gotten substantially more usage in 1 year than my previous system. But when I run them at 900 lumens for 3 hours, sorry, battery died. Second battery died. Didn't get to finish what I was saying there, and I've already forgotten what I was saying. We're at 2 hours. It's going to take 3 batteries to get us through this ride. It's maybe less than 5 minutes before I get home. What the hell was I talking about? I was talking something about these lights. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, at 900 lumens, I can run them for 3 hours and still not get any of the warning flashes that I'm running low. So really, I should start doing that. Run them at 900 lumens. There's still plenty of light. I just usually put them up to 1000 when I'm going to take a photo. But I have this Gemini headlamp, which is 1500 lumens, and I bought the largest capacity battery for it, and it doesn't have any problems going for 3 hours at 1500 lumens. Generally, the winter time, the longest rides I do are 3 hours. Night rides, do 3 hours. So I'm going to do a long night ride. Figure that's a decent amount of endurance to maintain. I maintain a 3 hour endurance all winter long. Once we get into cycling season proper, it's easy to add a 4th hour to that. You can comfortably ride for 3. Alright, so we're home. Been out for 2 hours, 4 minutes. 26.7 kilometers. Average speed of 12.8 kilometers, so quite a slow ride. Lots of slow conditions to deal with in the off-road sections. So, yeah, enjoyable ride. The temperature now is minus 17.6, so 10 kilometers as the crow flies from here, it was minus 21. So it's a fairly substantial temperature difference as you move inland away from Lake Superior. So thanks for watching. Bye.